We're out here today in Alamosa, Colorado with Senator Cleve Simpson, state senator, who's also an alfalfa farmer, installing these Viridi satellite connected gateways to help monitor his groundwater use. So Cleve, what is it that you're hoping to get out of this kind of data?
Well, again, ultimately improved knowledge about, informing our decisions about water management. And we live in a system that's challenged. A water security issue here where demand far exceeds supply. And I'm looking for every avenue, every opportunity we can to close that gap, and better access to better data, I think will help us in that regard.
And Cleve, in your position as a state senator, you commissioned a report that we wrote through the University of Colorado and Colorado State University about new technologies generally for water management in our state. What are you hoping to get out of for this on the state scale?
Yeah, well, look, we're kind of at an interesting time, and I borrow a quote from Brad Udall, a climate scientist at CSU, about we're at this inflection point where 19th century water law, 20th century infrastructure, and 21st century climate change are all culminating. That creates challenges. We're in the Rio Grande Basin where I live and work and represent, and again, trying to solve this water imbalance problem is not unique to this basin and the Rio Grande. It's statewide, so hopefully this effort will again help water managers and producers across the state just be better stewards of that resource.
So in addition to being a state senator and a grower here, you're also the director of the Rio Grande Water Conservation District.
That's correct.
So what's the future of the Rio Grande Valley look like, and all the growers around here as we have less and less water, more and more demand?
Well, if I could predict the future, I probably wouldn't be a state senator, but it's certainly problematic going forward. Again, if the next 20 years here, climate-wise and hydrologically, look like the last 20 years, and there's no reason to think it's going to get better, it just becomes problematic here. We're in a community that's really the culture, the economy, and the communities were all developed around irrigated agriculture, and we don't have the same supply of water we did 100 years ago. So it's trying to manage this, in my expectation, incrementally, where there undoubtedly are some changes, some different crops, some improved efficiency, and likely less irrigated acres here, but managing it and using data to manage it incrementally is so much better than the alternative that I think is a fundamental change where you lose communities and cultures and economies here, not just here in this valley, but across the state.
So what do we have here? So this is groundwater you're pumping.
This is groundwater. Behind us is what we would call a conjunctive use pond, where I also have access and share, I have shares of surface water, diversions out of the Rio Grande. So I use that water to put in the pond behind us, and then it feeds a couple of irrigation systems, center pivot sprinkler systems. So the conjunctive use comes into play when my surface water runs out, which it ran out this year right at the end of May. The source of water for my crop now is to pump groundwater, and it goes into this same conjunctive use pond. The pond serves to capture surface water and groundwater and then feed the center pivot sprinkler systems behind us.